The story about Christopher Barrios, the young boy in Brunswick that was 6 years of age. We know about Natalie Holloway that disappeared in the islands of Aruba. The 15-year-old girl that was assaulted out there in California.
So you're speaking of it, it really doesn't matter what age they are, from virtually infant all the way up to adulthood,
yes.
What I call pre-adulthood, teenager.
Yes.
When those impressions can be made
yes.
Upon those people. And
yes,
correct me if I'm wrong, but when you say that most young people, children, kind of see other people as everybody's good, nobody's out to harm, they don't think in that realm as a given rule,
they
right?
don't. They don't.
So when we're talking about children awareness, we're talking about protecting children.
Yes.
And so we're talking specifically to parents and adults, but we want the kids to understand this as well. What are some of the areas that we need to focus on, in your opinion, when it comes to let's protect our kids?
Our bus stops. I've been an adult at the bus stops, and I can say for the several years that I've been at the bus stops, it's just basically been me and one other parent. Throughout the year, a few parents may come in and out, and we have a lot of changeover because this is a Navy-based area.
Mm-hmm.
But child molesters, they prey on these areas. I have witnessed personally seeing strange cars pass by, and what I'll do is I'll pull out my cell phone. It kind of scares them off, or I'll go to talking with the other parent that may be standing there. But we need, I was looking up some statistics, and it says 95% of all child molestation can be prevented.
Now that's a pretty amazing stat.
95%.
95%. Now, I don't know if you may or may not be prepared for this next question or to be able to make a statement, but and it may be hard to define what is child molestation. I mean, we can think. I think when you say that, I think most people will conjure up or in a very accurate picture of the worst case scenario of what child molestation is. But what are some of the things that we may not consider to be child molestation or not think about it in that realm?
I have a good point right there on that. Child molestation is the improper touching of a child, and it saddens me. So we know generally as far as what has happened to children out there in society. I had a cousin of mine ask me, had I ever been sexually molested? And I said no. But I learned in the field of psychology that when you introduce sex to a child, like for instance, if they overhear you talking about sex, or if if a parent is having sex in the home and the kids overhear, anything that is introduced to that child of a sexual nature is actually child abuse. It is sexual abuse because they're not ready for that. They're not mentally prepared for that. So, when I was coming up in those places, there was a lot of things going on. No, I was never touched, but I witnessed. And I wanted to add in that the first foster home that I was in, I was 5 years of age, and I remember in horror hiding under the covers because the older boys were molesting the younger boys. And I remember being so scared, and I knew that something was horribly wrong, and I played sleep. And I remember the oldest boy, he peered over me and he said, "Is he asleep?" And I played like I was asleep, and they did not touch me. And I know that I was blessed to not be touched.
So what I'm gathering here, and I think that most folks that are watching, that it could fall under the realm of molestation of causing a child or a young person to, let me see if I can phrase this the right way, to lose the innocence of their mind, so to speak, where you bring the reality of the world in the time of a person's life that is most formative. When the proper training of teaching and training to be good citizens, this is being injected into that.
Right. Their minds aren't fully developed. Miss Jessica Parks of CASA here, the CASA program here, it's happening all the time. You have parents that watch pornography with their children. Or if you listen to the sexually explicit music of today, it's not censored, so it's out there on the radio, and these kids hear this sort of thing. Or parents introducing pornographic material such as illicit magazines, and kids see these kinds of things. That is introducing a young mind to something that they're not ready and prepared for in the proper context and manner.
Well, William, you know, one of the things that we've already touched on, and we're going to close down this segment here in just a second.
Okay.
But we've touched on about, you know, some parents need to be at bus stops, or at least frequently
Yes.
go by. Understand
Yes.
that we're busy and we go to work
Yes.
and all of those things, but some coordination
Right.
among multiple families can
Teamwork.
go into. Yeah, teamwork. Good point. Good point. To make sure, and that statistically, 95%
Yes.
of all child molestation can be prevented by most likely taking steps
Yes.
similar to what we might want to do at the bus stop.
Right.
It's just being aware,
Yes.
paying attention, and doing those little things like you see some strange car come by or whatever.
Pull out your phone. I mean, stare at them. You know, basically, in your neighborhood, in my neighborhood, everybody knows basically the main people that be in and out there. So
Right,
if you see
right.
some strange dark car, well, you know, you can take down a license plate number. You can call 911 anonymously. Basically, these people are praying. These molesters, and I have worked in the level 8 program where we had the sex offender. It's a very fine line as far as between people that are in jail and people that are in the sex offenders program. And one thing I want to put out there, and you hear it here, is that a sex offender is never cured. Basically, what we would do is we would house the kids until they were 21 and 22, and then they have to go out and register. But I mean, they never lost. I mean, they never lost as far as what was in them, as far as to be a harm to children.
Right, right. Interesting information. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes, and we're going to be talking about peer pressure and bullying and those type of things in our time that we have remaining with us. So we want to thank you for being a part of us on this morning or this day, and we certainly want you to stay with us. More coming up on TV Camden.